So the argument that I've been hearing the most from the right after this new round of Trump indictments is that, oh my God, Jack Smith and Joe Biden are trying to criminalize free speech and free expression. They're going after the First Amendment. This is insane. You can't do that. What an overreach, et cetera, et cetera. They keep going back to this point. Now, I find this point incredibly unpersuasive for the simple fact that on page 2 of the 45-page indictment, Jack Smith addresses this head on. In fact, he says very clearly, you're allowed to deny the election. You're allowed to say whatever you like. You're allowed to lie about the election. That's all protected speech. You're even allowed to sue and try every lawful way to get the election overturned. You could try to audit stuff. You could try to do recounts. You can take it to court. All that is fair game. It only becomes illegal when you get into the unlawful ways of trying to combat the election results, namely the fake elector slates. In like 5 states or 7 states, you did these fake electors. You lied to them too, by the way, and then you took their paperwork, sent it to Mike Pence to try to force him into rejecting the results of the election during his ceremonial role to verify it. So you literally committed this crime, tried to defraud the United States of America. You left a paper trail, and you're trying to disenfranchise millions of voters by overturning the results in certain states. Definitely illegal. So he addressed this point directly, and I actually think it was brilliant because some resistance liberals probably want to do a sedition charge or a treason charge. And if he were to go in that direction, I don't think he has sufficient evidence to make that case. It's not a slam dunk case in a court of law when you go down that path. He was much more nuanced and intelligent and reasonable with the exact charges he brought against and what they were for. So anyway, that doesn't stop the right from just acting like page 2 of the indictment doesn't exist. And they just go out there and repeat this like a broken clock. So here you have a CNN host who I normally despise, by the way, Jim Acosta, I find incredibly smug and annoying. But he actually makes a decent point here, puts together a good compilation of how fake this concern for the First Amendment and free speech is from the right. So let's watch.
Donald Trump, as we now know, has more indictments than impeachments. And if he's indicted in Georgia, he'll have as many indictments as years spent in the White House. And tonight, as Republicans accuse the Biden administration of weaponizing the Justice Department without evidence, you just saw how Trump is essentially vowing to do exactly that if he's elected again. But perhaps you've noticed how Trump's allies have defended the ex-president's attempts at overthrowing American democracy by claiming he was just exercising his right to free speech. These Trump world figures suddenly sound like champions of the First Amendment.
This is a violation of his right of free speech.
This is an attack on free speech and political advocacy. And there's nothing that's more protected under the First Amendment than political speech.
You're entitled to question whether it was honest or not. That's the uniqueness of the First Amendment.
You even have a right to lie under the First Amendment.
It says that you were spreading falsehoods, that you were undermining the integrity of the election. That's all part of the First Amendment.
What we have now is an administration that has criminalized the free speech.
You don't get to violate people's First Amendment rights, Smith.
But hold on. That full-throated defense of the First Amendment flies in the face of Donald Trump's record of undermining these rights. It's worth noting Trump has long been at war with the First Amendment. Take, for instance, freedom of the press.
It's frankly disgusting the way the press is able to write whatever they want to write.
As you know, I have a running war with the media. They are among the most dishonest human beings on earth.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are.
Or freedom of religion.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
You'll recall Trump's travel ban once called for a, quote, total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until the country can figure out what is going on. Courts struck down that ban in part because it was, quote, unconstitutionally tainted with animus toward Islam. The Supreme Court eventually allowed it, citing the expansive power of presidential authority. Then there is Trump's track record on freedom of assembly. Critics will point to the way the administration tear-gassed and pummeled protesters after the death of George Floyd. His administration also wanted to limit protests near the White House and at the National Mall. Trump and his allies have been quick to attack freedom of speech. Over the years, Trump himself has targeted plenty of his opponents, from individual citizens to whole companies, when he did not agree with their expression of free speech. And he has scoffed at the idea of First Amendment protections.
Maybe in certain areas, closing that internet up in some way.
Yeah.
Somebody will say, oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. These are foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people.
So mark this moment in your calendar. Trump and his defenders are all about free speech now.
You guys get the gist of it. By the way, he didn't even bring up what I think are the best examples to prove his case here. Trump, there was a little bit where he went on a crusade where he was saying we need to ban flag burning and punish it with up to a year in jail. Even though flag burning had been decided by the Supreme Court, they're like, look, this is like part and parcel of First Amendment protection here. You might not like that they burn the flag, you might not agree with their reasons behind it or whatever, but burning a flag is 100% free speech and free expression and protected by the First Amendment. Trump went on a crusade to change that. He also sued CNN and was asking for like $500 million because they reported stuff on him that he didn't like and he didn't agree with. He also threatened to sue Bill Maher because Bill Maher made a joke at his expense. So the list of stuff, he said we should open up the libel laws and make it like it is in the UK so that we can basically shut down the media when they come after us and we don't like it. Like, he has a track record of being demonstrably, massively anti-free speech. And so for him to now use that when it doesn't apply, look, I'll put it like this. If you decide, I want to get somebody killed, and you call a hitman, and you say, yeah, I want you to go after this person, it's at this time, this is their address, you do it, I'll pay you this much, here's how I'll send it to you, let's go. And you get caught doing that, what's going to happen? Is it a fair defense to say, bro, it's my free speech that I did that, bro? No, they'd be like, you were committing a crime. That is a crime. That is a crime. And you'd go to prison. And so it's not like literally any and all speech is allowed. It's not. It's just not. But at the same time, again, in this instance, it's not even about the speech. It's about the actions. It's about the actions. It's about, oh my God, you're doing fake electors. And oh my God, you're trying to defraud the United States by lying, and you know you're lying about the election. It's trying to overturn, it's trying to disenfranchise millions of voters. It's a conspiracy to do exactly that. It's a conspiracy to obstruct an official government proceeding. You did obstruct an official government proceeding. There's a list of crimes here. And so if this is all they got, and it is, by the way, man, they're in trouble. And I think the reason he's melting down on social media and at his rallies is because he knows he's in trouble. So he's just trying to win in the court of public opinion. And at least as of right now, it ain't working. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.